resonated with it so much. And Angela, in her TED Talk that came out maybe up to 10 years ago now, talked about the origin of, one of her girls coming up with this desire to throw a dance for her father in a jail. And she also talks about that our fathers are our mirrors, and what we feel about them really impacts what we attract as we move through life. And so I took that in a very personal way and just had to think at that moment, like, okay, well, what are the disconnections and connections I have with my father, and what's preventing me from certain things that I may not even realize in my upbringing? So I felt like it was a very universal message. And there's definitely gaps in emotional connection and the ways that I think a lot of fathers relate to their daughters. And so for me, I just came at it and from my own like personal experience, and also just friends and different people that I think all relate to having a fatherhood wound and not being able to connect in some emotional ways. So I feel like with the film, we're really getting to see fathers doing this kind of work and getting in touch and having that emotional connection and showing that transparency, being able to like shed a tear, cry in front of your daughter, and knowing that that's actually connecting you in a much deeper way rather than protecting yourself and protecting the daughter. So those are some initial thoughts for me.
Yes. And for me, I have not experienced the father wound, so I just felt like it was an opportunity for us to show that Black men specifically do show up, although you were able to see fathers who were incarcerated in a circle, you also were introduced to another father, and that was the coach, who was Chad, who really just paid it forward and was like, brothers, we know better, and we are who we've been waiting for, right? And sometimes we need to be redirected or reintroduced ourselves, or sometimes that was the first time these men had an opportunity to understand that their daughters needed them. But Chad was another Black man in the room that actually helped guide that conversation and that made them comfortable to be vulnerable. And then here I come in the film, and then I tell the men that here I am, a 48-year-old woman, and I still need my daddy, to let them know that fatherhood, parenting, it's no ending road to that, right? I have a grown child myself, so I definitely understand that. But I wanted to make a point to them, and really hit them in the pit of their stomach, that they have to know that the daughter's only desire is to know that you're there. She just need to count on you. And I don't believe that sometimes people know that at that depth because of their own lived experiences from their own childhood wounds with their father or their mother. And so I believe that the film does allow people to understand that my mother's famous words is, people don't come here knowing. Somebody have to tell you. Somebody has to show you, And so there was a lot of wisdom that was already in the film to really uplift these men. And I do see them now, especially those that are no longer incarcerated, showing up and their daughters counting on them. And that was the point that we were trying to make in this film.
Thank you guys. It was a very powerful film. It had me crying within the first 10 minutes.